Welcome to today's learning session about creating hypothesis for analytic execution. Today, we're talking about declaring applicants question. The question goes like this. Let's say you are looking at the metrics of a job board. You see that the number of postings per day has more or less remained the same last few months, but number of applicants that have applied to jobs have been steadily decreasing. Why would this be happening? That's the question. For this, we'll try to do some triage, understand the metric, do some triage, and try to look beyond the surface idea to see the cause of this. Now let's dive into it. Now, first question we can ask is first thing we can do is there any specific metric that is causing this? And we know that the two metrics that is causing this. One is number of job postings per day, and second is number of applicants per day. These are two metrics we are talking about here. Okay. Now, next question. Let's do triage. Is this metric important to team? Let's do triage. Is this metric important to team? And they say less obviously they would say yes. For purpose of this, let's say they would say yes. Now we can ask on a question to interviewer, what does this metric in question mean? What do you think it would say? Let's say interviewer would say that number of job postings per day is number of jobs being posted per day is stable, and second thing is number of second number of applicants per day. That means that means number of applications per day is decreasing. That's what it means. Now let's move on. Let's ask one more question to interviewer. Are we giving proportional metric? What do you think? Think about a few seconds. The answer is no, right? Because number of job posting per day and number of applicants per day are not proportional metrics. These are just two different metrics, and they are non-proportional. So, proportional metric, no. Now let's take next step. Let's see if we can look beyond the surface ideas. We can see how big is the change in terms of relative and absolute term. In both relative and absolute, in relative and absolute term, how big is the change in both relative and absolute term? We asked to interview, and interviewer would say that in relative term it is 20% decline, and absolute term it is 1,000 to 800. And we ask one more question to interviewer. What would you be concerned about this trend and why? And we try to understand the business implication for this question. We need to understand the business consequence for this trend. Why you be concerned about this and why? Because less applications means less. The interview would say less application means less talent to choose from, and possibility of lower quality applicants. Lower quality applicants, which reduces revenue, which reduces the revenue. Possibility. Possibility. So this is what we have for today. So let me quickly summarize what we talked about today. There was a question, and we did two things. We try to understand the metric that is causing this concern claim, and second thing, we try to triage whether this metric is important to team, and thirdly, we try to understand a little more meaning about the metric we are that is being presented here, and we try to see whether it's a proportional metric. And secondly, we try to we try to dig deeper to understand what could be causing the issue. For that, we need to we try to understand how big was the change in both a relative and absolute term, which impact the size and scope of the problem, and then we try to understand why we concerned about this trend and why, and try to look at the business side of this issue. So that's all for today. I'll see you next learning session. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.